Hey there, Izzo friends. So I was just digging through some old boxes, and I found the old playbill of a play that I was in 7th grade. Don't Rock the Boat. So, just because I feel like it, you're gonna go ahead and get a full reading of this. It's in 3 acts, so we'll do it in 3 videos. So we have characters. Hang on. Let me skip forward. Let me make sure there's nothing I need to make sure. This is by a gentleman named Tim Kelly. Don't Rock the Boat. A wacky comedy cruise in 3 acts. So for me, that would be 6th grade? No, 7th grade. 7th grade, shoot. 7th grade, so I was 9? Is that correct? No, it's not correct. Math is not strong with me today. Hold on. Chief Leaf, let me know. 7th grade would be 12 years old. Idiot. Okay. Important notice. This play, Don't Rock the Boat, is protected by copyright. This means you may not reproduce the script by any means. They probably didn't know YouTube existed back when they wrote this little contract in the book. Further, possession of scripts alone does not grant performance rights. You must have a production license. We don't have any of that. If you want to turn me in, go ahead and turn me in. My channel isn't monetized anyway. You must have a production license. Yeah, we won't bore you with reading the rest of that paragraph. Anyway, page 3. The story of the play. Take the TV show The Love Boat. Season with Mutiny on the Bounty. Serve Pirates of Penzance for dessert. And you get some idea of what Don't Rock the Boat is all about. This is a youthful comedy cruise that has laughs coming faster than torpedoes. I'm sure it will. Tom Butterworth is determined to be the youngest cruise captain in history, even if this means sailing on a converted gunboat named the Vengeance, with a crew of rejects from the Maritime High School and a trio of girl singers who are passing themselves off as a famous showbiz act. No wonder the engineer is seasick. I was the engineer in this. And the cruise hostess is pulling her hair in frustration. What about the passengers? There's a fabulous Hollywood star, Honey Hotchkiss, who is determined to star in Gone with the Wind Part 2. Only the producer would sooner walk the plank. There's also a clumsy pair of thieves, a lady who loves pets but is allergic to fur, a non-stop juggler, and a gung-ho nurse who practices giving hypos by stabbing oranges. And anything else that's handy. Actually, she stabs me in the film. Actually, I have this play on Betamax somewhere. I will eventually convert it to digital and show you all. To top it all off, there's a hijacking at sea by a misguided group of pirate loonies. If this isn't enough to sink the Vengeance, there may be a shark in the pool. There is definitely a storm and a mudbank that proves unfriendly. One other thing, the ship has no insurance. However, by the final curtain, it's all romance and hilarity. The set is simple, the dialogue is easy to memorize, and the plot is designed for easy rehearsals. If there's even a place for a series of musical numbers, if desired. Excuse me, let's reread that. There is a place for a series of musical numbers if desired. If you sail on a cruise ship, do it with vengeance, but make sure you can swim and laugh. So that's what you're in store for with Don't Rock the Boat. All right, we're going to skip some of this. Just some of the random... We'll give you the characters. All right. So Boris is a student at Maritime High School. Douglas is another student. Mike is another student. Mr. Crankmeyer is their teacher. Says Huff and Gruff, so apparently that's what he was supposed to be. Arlene Zane, young, pretty cruise director, practically the only sane one on board. And there's a jogger, an exercise nut. Literally, a jogger jogs through the whole. Anytime she's in it, she's jogging. We got Brenda, student dreaming of Stardom. Actually, this girl sang, and I don't remember the names of my fellow students who did this production. Brenda sang the song from Roger Rabbit. What is that song that Jessica Rabbit sings? Give me some money too. Anyway, we got Jan, another student dreaming of Stardom. I don't remember her singing anything though. Penny, another. Honey Hotchkiss, a fabulous but dumb film star. Well, maybe it was Honey Hotchkiss then that did the singing. Anyway, Ms. Buford, her secretary. Commodore Withers, a retired Navy man. Mrs. Withers, his lady. Antonio, an emotional engineer. Cody, the C6 second in command. I was Cody. Tom Buttersworth, a young, likable captain. Victor Bay, Hollywood producer. He hates honey. Miss Marshall from the insurance company. Nurse, has trouble giving injections. First old lady, a passenger. Second old lady, another passenger. Max, a shady character. Trixie, his accomplice. Pirate number 1, on board without a ticket. Pirate number 2, another one on board without a ticket. Piano player, if desired. We had a piano player who was one of the teachers at the junior high school. Setting. All right, so we got synopsis. Setting on the cruise ship Vengeance. Time, the present. At the time, this would be... Hold on, let me think it through. If I was 12, that would be 1990. Act 1, the main lounge, morning. Act 2, scene 1, the following day. Scene 2, that night. Act 3, later. Stage properties, we got a bulletin board with... you don't need to hear all this crap. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, that's just... it's just stuff we would need for the performance, general atmosphere, costume, sound effects, party scene. We'll put this at the end. I'll read all this crap at the end of this production of Don't Rock the Boat, for those of you who are completionists like I am. Flexible casting, variation of stage setting, stage steps. All right, here we go. Finally, Act 1. Setting, the main lounge of the Vengeance. It is morning. UC is a bulletin board decorated with a travel poster, a sign announcing welcome aboard party, and a passenger list. One canvas chair is stage right and one stage left of the bulletin board. DR, what is DR? DR is a table with 3 chairs. So if SR is stage right, SL is stage left. What is DR? I don't know what DR is. We'll look it up, and when I edit this, I'll put it in there. DR is a table with 3 chairs. Another table is DL. So, well, DR is obviously something right. DL is something left with 3 chairs. I'll look it up. Put it in the comments if you want to correct me. It's all good. All right, where are we at? On the front forestage, in front of the stage curtain, extreme DSR. So extreme DS right. Don't know what it means. We'll find out. An extreme DSL is a ship's railing, or a suggestion of a ship's railing. I don't remember if we had a railing or not. On the railings are lifesavers with the word Vengeance painted on. Optional nautical items are visible. Entrance into the lounge can be gained by either stage right or stage left. Set works nicely in drapes for a few scenery flats. See drawings for further clarifications. I doubt there's drawings in this thing. If there are, I'll post them. All right, here we go. At rise, so, you know, curtains rising up. The lounge is empty. Voices from off stage left. Boris's voice. Who's Boris? This will get smoother as we go. So Boris, student at Maritime High. So, all right, so this is going to be 3 students and their teacher. Boris's voice. This is a great opportunity, Mr. Crankmeyer. Crankmeyer's voice. Ha! Douglas's voice. We won't disappoint you, Mr. Crankmeyer. Crankmeyer's voice. I've heard that before. Mike's voice. Honest. Crankmeyer's voice. Time will tell. Boris, Douglas, and Mike, carrying sea bags, enter stage left. Cross center stage, they are energetic and eager. Boris, we're lucky to have you for a teacher, Mr. Crankmeyer. Douglas, coming up with a fantastic idea like this. Mike, working on a cruise ship for our final exam. Crankmeyer enters behind them. He is gruff and tough, and the boys are terrified of him. He takes out a whistle, blows it. Do I have a whistle around here? I don't, and you're lucky. Anyway, where are we at? Takes out a whistle and blows it. Instantly, the boys snap to attention and the sea bags drop to the deck. He walks back and forth in front of them, like an admiral inspecting his crew. Crankmeyer, you may think working on a cruise ship for your final exam is a fantastic idea, but I kid you not. If any one of you three fouls up, it will be the last ship you ever set foot on. I make that a promise. Understood? Boys softly, yes, sir. Crankmeyer, I didn't hear you. Boys loudly, yes, sir. Crankmeyer, yes, sir, what? Boys loudly, yes, sir, Mr. Crankmeyer. Crankmeyer, now hear this. I've taught at the Maritime High School for many years, and I have never had to fail one student until now. Until I found the Three Stooges in my class. Mike, the Three Stooges? Crankmeyer, pointing at each one as he says his name. Boris, Douglas, Mike. We have last names, Mr. Crankmeyer. That was Douglas. Crankmeyer, not to me you don't. Not until you prove yourself seaworthy. You boys are messing up my perfect record. I won't forget that. You better believe it. Boris, swallowing hard. Gosh, Mr. Crankmeyer, we haven't failed yet. Crankmeyer, don't interrupt! Mike, no, sir. Crankmeyer, I wasn't snarling at you. I was snarling at Boris. Mike, sorry, sir. Crankmeyer, sorry you will be if anything goes wrong. Your academic record is wretched. You're lazy, dumb, and irresponsible. This is your last chance. Prove yourselves good seamen or you get no diplomas. Is that understood? Boys, understood, sir. Crankmeyer, I'll find the captain and tell him you're aboard and ready for duty. He crosses the stage right. The boys are frozen in position. Before he leaves the lounge, he stops and turns. Now hear this. Stay put until I get back. Remember, I've got eyes in the back of my head. I see fore and aft. And he exits. Nervously, the boys look. Stage right. Boris creeps stage right to make sure Crankmeyer is out of earshot. Boris, I can't believe he's got eyes in the back of the head. That's what a monster would have. Douglas, did you hear what he called us? Mike, the Three Stooges. Douglas, lazy, dumb. Mike, don't forget irresponsible. Douglas, they don't call him Captain Bligh. He thinks every ship is the Bounty. Meanest man in the Navy, that's what he is. Mike, he's not in the Navy. Boris, he's on the faculty. Douglas, Maritime High School isn't like other high schools. Boris, of course not. It's on the water. Douglas, I mean, it doesn't have lovable teachers. It has Crankmeyers. Mike, who says teachers have to be lovable? Douglas, maybe they don't have to be lovable, but do they have to be like Crankmeyer? If I flunk out, my parents will kill me. Mike, not if Crankmeyer beats him to it. Boris, I might as well drown myself if I come home without that diploma. My father's an ex-Navy man. Mike, if I don't get a diploma, I'm not going home. Boris, looking about. Say, what's the name of this tub? Douglas shrugs. Who knows? Arlene Zane, carrying a clipboard, enters stage right. Arlene, looking for someone? Well, should I try to do a girl voice? This will be bad. Looking for someone? Mike, no, we're waiting for someone. Arlene, a passenger? Douglas, our teacher. Boris, Mr. Crankmeyer. Arlene, Crankmeyer. I'm sure there's no Crankmeyer on the passenger list. She crosses to U.S., whatever U.S. is. To bulletin board, checks list. Burns, Collins, Castor, Colt, Dennis, Evans, turns to them. No Crankmeyer. Mike, he's going to work on this cruise ship. Douglas, my friend means we're going to work on this cruise ship. Boris, Mr. Crankmeyer is going to supervise. Arlene, first I've heard of it. Step stage left to the DR table, whatever DR is. I'm Miss Zane, Arlene Zane. I'm the cruise director. Do you boys have names? Boris, Mike, Douglas. No last names? Mike says, not until we're proof seaworthy. Arlene, seaworthy? Boris, we're students from Maritime High School. Arlene, recognizing the name. That's the high school that uses a real ship for its campus. Douglas, yes, ma'am. It's permanently docked down at Pier 11, across the street from the clam shop. Arlene, you say you're not going to be working on this cruise? Mike, you might say it's our final exam. Douglas, it'll be final for us if we don't pass. Boris, we're going to give Boris a terrible Russian accent. For my Russian brothers and sisters, please don't be offended. Boris, reporting in, Ms. Zane. Mike, what should we do for Mike? We'll just be Mike for now. Ready for sea duty. Snappily, they come to attention and salute. Arlene, I think it's a wonderful idea. Thinks. I wonder why Captain Butterworth didn't mention it. No matter. We'll be shoving off soon, so you'd better be assigned to quarters. Douglas. You know what? Just for fun, we're going to give Douglas an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent. Douglas. If you tell us where to find the accommodation officer, I wish I knew. Mike. Maybe he's topside. Mike will just be kind of like a normal Izzo. Arlene. I don't think so. You see, most everyone on the ship seems to have disappeared. Boys, huh? Arlene, no problem. I'll do in a pinch. Come along with me. She exits stage left. Boys pick up their sea bags. Mike, did she say she wanted to disappear? Boris, no. I think she said she wanted to be pinched. Such junior high writing here. Okay. So the boys, completely forgetting Crankmeyer's warning to stay put, Mike, Douglas, and Boris follow after Arlene as a jogger, wearing a warm-up suit and a towel around her neck, jogs in from stage right, huffing and puffing. Note, many roles can be played as either male or female characters. The jogger is an example. For other possibilities, consult production notes. All right, we're the jogger now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhausted, the jogger collapses into a chair at the D left table. I should look this up. And wipes her face with the towel. At the same time, Brenda, Jan, and Penny enter stage right. Each girl's attractive, bubbly, star-eyed. They carry cosmetic kits. Oh, gotta do female voices. All right, fine. Brenda, here we are. Jan, this is it. Penny, the start of something big. Brenda, fame. Jan, fortune. Penny, success. I probably won't be able to do different accents for each of them. What are you going to do? Brenda, move center stage, speaks to jogger. Oh, I'm doing the voice. Move center stage, speaks to jogger. Excuse me. Oh, we're going to give them all British accents. This is going to be terrible. Jogger, without turning. Why? What'd you do? We're going to make the jogger male. She continues to wipe her face. He continues to wipe his face with the towel. Jan and Penny step beside Brenda. We're looking for the cruise director. Brenda, Miss Zane. Penny, Arlene Zane. Jogger doesn't answer. Girls exchange a bewildered look. Brenda tries again. Brenda, we're the new entertainers, the Divine Sisters. Jan, actually we're not related. The Divine Sisters is a show business name. Penny, we sing, we dance, we're on board to make your 5-day cruise a wonderful experience. Jogger, I hate entertainers. With that, she stands and jogs out stage right. Brenda, did we make a bad impression? Jan, I hope she's not typical of the other passengers. And obviously, this is a terrible British accent and a terrible British female accent. Please forgive. Brenda, did we make a bad impression? Jan, I hope she's not typical of the other passengers. Penny, maybe she's not feeling well. Forget about the jogger. Let's see if we're listed as a star attraction. Jan, where would we look? Brenda points. What about the bulletin board? Jan, good idea. They move to the bulletin board and scan it. Brenda, look, there's a poster. Penny, reading excitedly. Welcome aboard, party. Meet cruise director Eileen Zane as she introduces her entertainment staff, featuring that well-known showbiz trio, the Divine Sisters. Jan, that's us! They jump up and down in glee as the voice of Honey Hotchkiss enters the lounge. All right, so for Honey, I'm going to do a terrible, what's her name? She was in Romancing the Stone. When I remember it, I'll tell you. She's in Romancing the Stone. So we're going to do a husky, lower voice for Honey Hotchkiss. Honey's voice, from off stage right. Don't worry about it, Miss Buford. I know what I'm doing. I always know what I'm doing. That's why I'm a star and you're an employee. So this is apparently a combination of female movie star and the guy that plays the Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood. I can't think of that actor's name. He's deceased. Anyway, where am I at? Miss Buford's voice. Miss Buford. Let's see. What will we do for Miss Buford? Miss Buford's going to be older. Just for kicks, we're going to give her quasi-offensive German accent. Like almost like a German nanny. Like... It's from Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I can't think of the character's name. Anyway, Miss Buford's voice. The studio won't like it. Honey's voice. The studio can lump it. Hearing voices, the girls look. Stage right. Honey Hotchkiss, a fabulous Hollywood movie star, enters. She's the epitome of filldom legend. Gorgeously costumed in travel clothes, dark glasses. She oozes glamour and success. However, she's none too bright and demands to be the center of attention at all times. She has a funny walk, and her voice is rather childlike. Oh, well, we're going to do our own voice. Brenda, Jan, and Penny are bedazzled. Brenda, is that who I think it is? Jan, it can't be. Penny, Honey Hotchkiss. I've seen every one of her films. Jan, Honey Hotchkiss, oh wow. Brenda, frantic, check the passenger list, check the passenger list. Eagerly, the girls again turn to the bulletin board. As they check off names, Miss Buford enters stage right. In contrast to her employer, she is dressed in subdued fashion. She carries a steno pad and pencil. Honey knows the girls have recognized her and enjoys the sensation she's causing. Jan, Arnold, Annette, Bay, Buster, Bruns, Collins, Castor, Dennis, Evans. Honey, take a letter, Miss Buford. Miss Buford, ready when you are. Oh, wait, we were going to do German. Ready when you are, honey. Who to? Honey, give me a second. I'll think of someone. How long are these acts? Jan, still reading. Honey, Hotchkiss, Honey. Brenda, it is her. Penny, wow. They zoom to her. Honey remains cool. Very much the glamorous star accustomed to adulation. She sits regally at the stage right table, produces a small brush, and begins to buff her fingernails. Jan, oh, Miss Honey Hotchkiss, what an honor. Honey, I know. Brenda, we never dreamed you'd be on board. Honey, I know. Penny, I'd ask for your autograph, only I don't have a pencil. I don't have a pen. I don't have paper. Oh. Honey motions with her hand. Miss Buford, a fan is waiting. Miss Buford hands her the steno pad and pencil. With a flourish, Honey writes her name on the top sheet of paper. Honey Hotchkiss, your friend. Oh, I did the British accent. That wasn't really Honey Hotchkiss. We'll work on that. She tears it off and hands it to Penny. There you are. I only grant one autograph a day, and you're it. Penny, oh, wow. Oh, sensational. Thank you, Miss Hotchkiss. Honey, call me Honey. Everyone does. I ain't formal. Miss Buford gently correcting her. Grammar, Honey. Grammar. Honey, giving Miss Buford an irritated look. I'm not formal. Penny, you were wonderful in Mad Dog Lady. Honey, I know. Penny, I saw it 4 times. Honey, I should have got an Academy Award for that one. I was robbed. I cried real tears. I'm mixing up these accents. My apologies to everyone. Real tears aren't easy, Miss Buford. Real tears ain't easy. See, I'm correcting grammar as I go. Miss Buford. Grammar, honey, grammar. Again, giving her an irritated look. She dislikes being corrected in public. Real tears, exaggerated pronunciation, aren't easy. Penny, you were marvelous in Lady in Cement. Honey, I know. Penny, better than marvelous, sensational. Honey, I did all my own stunts. Brenda, what did you think of Lady in Cement, honey? Honey, thinks, frowns. Thinking comes hard to the film star. A pause, then heavy. And what a dad joke to put in the middle of this production. Back to the content. Penny, what's your next film? Honey, I'm going to star in the serial Gone with the Wind. Brenda, serial? Miss Buford, she means sequel. Honey, yes, that's right, a serious sequel. Miss Buford, she means a serious sequel. Honey, that's what I said. Brenda, what's it called? Honey, thinking hard, I keep forgetting. Miss Buford, it's not hard for honey to do. It's almost Russian. I was shooting for German. My apologies to all Russian and German people watching this. Honey, it's got a tricky title. Oh, I remember. Gone with the Wind, Part 2. Penny, you're going to play Scarlett O'Hara? Honey, well, naturally. I mean, I'd make a rotten Rhett Butler. And imagine the advertisement. Victor Vey Productions presents Miss Honey Hotchkiss in Gone with the Wind Part 2. Or maybe it should be Miss Honey Hotchkiss starring in Gone with the Wind Part 2, and then in tiny little itty bitty letters produced by Victor Vey. But, I thought the English actress Sylvia Lovely was going to play Scarlett O'Hara. Jan, it's been in all the papers. Honey, bristling. A vicious rumor spread by my jealous enemies. Penny holds up the paper. I've got to see this autograph in the sunlight. She runs off stage right with Brenda and Jan following. Thank goodness they're leaving. Brenda. Wait, where am I at? Brenda. I'll trade you for one of my records. Jan. I'll give you $5 for it. Honey, standing. You see, Miss Buford, my fans are everywhere. Victor Vey is making a big mistake. If he doesn't give me that part in Gone with the Wind Part 2, I will personally destroy him. Miss Buford, what about Sylvia Lovely? Honey, she can destroy herself. Miss Buford, she's already got the part, honey. Face facts. Honey, the only thing I enjoy facing is the mirror. I happen to know nothing's been signed. Remember, Miss Buford, when I want something, I get it. Oh my god, how long is this first act? Hold on. Where are we? Are we almost to Cody? Oh my goodness, so many pages. Alright, well. Oof. Okay, if you're with me, we got 12 more pages. Miss Buford picks up the steno pad and pencil from the table. Arlene enters stage left. Arlene, Miss Hotchkiss, this is a rare treat. I'm a big fan of yours. Honey, naturally. Everybody is a big fan of Honey Hotchkiss, even midgets. Everyone but that pinhead Victor Vey. He's senile. My apologies to little people that they used midgets in this production. We're talking 1990. I can't help it. Where were we? He's senile. Arlene, welcome aboard the good... Well, we're not giving her an English accent. Arlene, welcome aboard the good ship Vengeance. Honey, Vengeance? That's a dumb name for a cruise ship. Arlene, it used to be a gunboat. Miss Buford, unbelievingly. A gunboat? Arlene, belonged to some obscure country in the Caribbean. Bambula. The cruise line recently purchased it. Bambula? No, the gunboat. The cruise line hasn't gotten around to changing the name yet. Honey, I think they ought to hurry. Vengeance isn't good for business. Miss Buford, neither is... Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I think they ought to hurry. Vengeance ain't good for business, Miss Buford. Neither is ain't. Honey, let's cut the chit-chat. Tell me one more thing, Miss, Arlene Zane? Arlene Zane? I'm the cruise director? You can call me Honey. Everyone does. I ain't. Grandma, honey, grandma! I'm not formal. Arlene, I know you're going to enjoy the cruise. Miss Buford. I'm Miss Buford, Honey's secretary. Arlene, how do you do to Honey? Mealtimes are at all hours, entertainment nightly, cards, skeet shooting, steam baths. Honey, I'm only interested in one thing, like I told you on the telephone. Victor Bay's sailing on this bucket? Arlene, definitely. Honey, and you haven't told him I'm sailing too? Arlene, I could hardly do that, honey. I didn't know myself until an hour ago. When you called up and made your late reservation, I barely had time to add your name to the passenger list. I haven't met Mr. Bay yet. Lucky you. I'd like a few words with the captain. Arlene, you'll find him forward. Honey, I'll put him in his place. Arlene, I was speaking nautically. Honey, what's the matter with English? It's the only language I can understand. Miss Buford, if he'd spoken slowly. Arlene, I meant that Captain Butterworth is at the front of the ship. Honey, why didn't you say so? She sweeps out stage left. Miss Buford follows. I need to get a sip here. Man, 31 minutes. I'm so sorry that you've been watching this. All right, we got a few more pages. If you made it to 32 minutes, then put in the comments. Vengeance will be mine. So if I see vengeance will be mine, I know you made it this far. All right, where are we at? Brenda, Jan, and Penny return, stage right. Brenda. This cruise is going to be more exciting than I thought. Penny. Sorry. I'm so glad to have a Honey Hotchkiss autograph. Jan. Too bad she misspelled her name. She put 4 S's in Hotchkiss and left the E out of honey. Arlene. Good morning, ladies. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Arlene Zane, your cruise director. Brenda. We were looking for you. Arlene. You've found me. Jan. We're the Divine Sisters. As if to prove the point, they hold up cosmetic kits. Brenda. Songs. Jan. Dances. Penny. Showbiz magic. Brenda, tapping her kit. See the initials on the cosmetic kit? DVS for D. D for D. Jan, V for Vine. Penny, S for Sisters. Arlene, giving them a hard stare. I don't think I heard you correctly. Brenda, we're the Divine Sisters. Arlene continues to stare. This makes the girls nervous. Penny, if you could tell me our room number, we'll get settled in. Arlene, you're young. The talent agency told me the Divine Sisters had been in the show business for 20 years. Jen, thinking fast. Oh, we started young. Brenda, infants almost. Arlene, you look like schoolgirls, all the girls. Ha 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 ha. Penny, we are young looking for our age, aren't we? Jan, it's because we're into health food. Does wonders for the skin. Arlene, how old are you exactly? Got a train going by. They all speak at once. Brenda, 21. Jan, 24. Penny, 26. Arlene, awfully suspicious. The talent agency also said the Divine Sisters were triplets. Jan, triplets? Yes, that's true. Penny, we're triplets. Counts 1, 2, 3. Arlene, if you're triplets, how can one be 21, one be 24, and one be 26? Jan says, Mother had a long labor. This is terrible. I don't know if I hope or if I don't hope that I find the recording of this video in order to show you. Anyway, we continue. Commodore and Mrs. Withers, society types, enter stage left. All right, so we'll try to give them a snooty older voice. They are dressed expensively. Mrs. Withers is weighted down by glittering jewelry and carries a stuffed toy dog. Boy, I remember that. Wow. Commodore. Commodore Withers and his lady on board. Takes out a whistle and blows 3 short blasts. Burp, burp, burp. Arlene. Ah, Commodore and Mrs. Withers. Crosses to them and welcomes them. They converse in mime. Brenda and Penny each take one of Jan's elbows and guide her DR, so something right. DR, downright? Let's go downright. And downright in front of the table, they talk in stage whispers, which are, pretty loud. Penny, she knows we're high school students. Jan, she doesn't know. She only suspects. Look, I don't want to be a part-time secretary at a talent agency all my life. If we want our big chance, it's got to be bold. Or we've got to be bold. Brenda, what will the real Divine Sisters say when they discover we've taken their place? Jan, we'll worry about that later. Brenda, the ship better hurry and sail or Miss Zane will boot us off. I tell you, she's wise to us. They sneak off downright. We'll go with downright. Downright as the voices of others come up. Commodore, we've never sailed on the Vengeance before. Arlene, this will be its first cruise. Mrs. Withers, first cruise? Oh dear, I don't like the sound of that. Do you like the sound of that, Rasputin? Mrs. Withers softly growls, then barks once, twice, 3 times. Rasputin says he has not made up his mind. Rasputin's the toy dog. Arlene, diplomatically, that's an unusual pooch. Commodore, indeed he is. Arlene, what kind of dog is Rasputin? Mrs. Withers, stuffed. Commodore, a rather common breed. My wife is allergic to animal fur. Mrs. Withers, but I do so love dogs. Commodore, so I suggested she get attached to the next best thing. Mrs. Withers, holding up the stuffed toy dog. Give the nice lady a kiss, Rasputin. Doing her best to smile, Arlene accepts the kiss. Oh, he likes you. Arlene pats Rasputin. I like him. Actually, animals aren't allowed on board. However, I think we can make an exception in Rasputin's case. Mrs. Withers, how kind. Arlene, I'll show you to your stateroom as soon as I've finished with these girls. Mrs. Withers, what girls? Arlene, they call themselves the Divine Sisters. Turns, oh, Commodore, something the matter? Arlene, they were here a moment ago. Commodore, no need to show us to our stateroom. We'll take a promenade on the bow before we sail. Maybe a dip in the pool. Arlene, we're experiencing a little problem with the pool. The plumbing. There's no water. Commodore, pity. Commodore and Mrs. Withers stroll out stage right as Jogger jogs in stage right. Jogger jogs stage left, moves in front of the table, crosses to stage right, jogs around the table. Arlene follows along, attempting to slow the jogger's progress. I don't believe I got your name. I'm Miss Zane, Arlene Zane. I'm your cruise director. I know you're going to enjoy sailing on the Vengeance. Have you signed up for shuffleboard? Don't forget our indoor games get-together. We serve afternoon tea and pastries at 4. As Arlene continues to follow Jogger, Antonio enters stage left. He wears jeans and a work shirt, sleeves rolled up, might have a beard. Officer's hat on his head. In a foul mood, he is wiping his hands on a bandana. He has an accent. What accent should we give him? Let's make Antonio Italianish. Where's the Captino? Arlene, still trying to capture the jogger's interest. Don't forget our midnight snacks. Do you play chess, backgammon, old maid? Jogger jogs out, stage right. Arlene follows after her. Antonio steps stage right. I said, what is a cappuccino? Cody stumbles in stage left. I was Cody for this production in my junior high school. He is young, inexperienced, clumsy, but personable. How accurate. What are you shouting about, Antonio? So I'm going back to like junior high Izzo. What are you shouting about, Antonio? Let's see, Italian. I'm looking for Captain Butterworth. Cody. I'm just gonna be Cody. He's busy with the sailing. I'm deputy captain. You can tell me what you want. You're an example of what's wrong with the ship. I admit I have a little problem with seasickness. Captain Butterworth has never had a ship before. He's capable, though. I can't be chief engineer officer on this vessel. Why not? This ship once belonged to my country. She was a great gunboat. I am passionately patriotic. So am I. So is Captain Buttersworth. I cannot watch her decline. A cruise ship. It is a national disgrace. Long live Bambula. I quit. You can't quit. Yes, I can. I do. There is one other reason. What? What about it? It bounced. He exits fast, stage left. Antonio! Wait, listen. Antonio! Arlene returns stage right. Hello, Cody. She steps center stage as Cody hurriedly steps to her. Antonio, he quit. Arlene, quit? Cody, something about pride, Bambula, and a bum check. Arlene, what's happening on this ship? Most of the crew and staff are gone. I can't find them anywhere. Oh, I hope I don't get seasick. It's so embarrassing for a sailor, especially an officer. Arlene, oh, where is Tom Butterworth? On cue, Captain Tom Butterworth enters stage right. Like Cody, he is young and personable, dedicated and ambitious. Nothing seems to unhinge him. We like him at once. We're going to do like a Captain Kirk voice. Captain, someone call my name? Arlene, where have you been, Captain Buttersworth? You have no idea what's been going on. Captain, I've been tending to my duties. We're almost ready to sail. Better check your last-minute details. Cody, I wish you hadn't used the word check. Antonio was here a moment ago and he used it. Captain, so? Arlene, we're short of crew. Every time I turn around, someone else is jumping ship. How can we sail? Captain, in charge of the situation. Not to worry. The Vengeance has been experiencing some troubled waters, but there's nothing to fear. Arlene, nothing to fear? How can we sail without a full crew? Captain, I'm expecting a Mr. Crankmeyer at any minute. Arlene, he's already on board. Captain, Mr. Crankmeyer is supplying the extra crew. Cody, Antonio quit. Captain, I thought you said he was here a moment ago. He was, to say he was quitting. Captain, some business about patriotism and Bambula, wasn't it? And a bum check. Never could understand what he was babbling about. Didn't expect him to sail. Arlene, Captain, what's going on? Tell us. Captain, I didn't want to bother you with the minor details. Arlene, please. Man, how long till this act is over? Ay. Captain, I didn't want to bother you with the minor details. Please. Captain, the ship line has had some cash flow problems. As a matter of fact, none of the checks were any good. That's why I've had to scrounge up a crew in any way I could. Cody, you take over Antonio's duties. You can be the ship's engineer. Me? Captain, it's only a Someone in the lounge is crazy, and it's not me. Captain, checks watch. We haven't got much time. Kobe, I don't think I could do it. What about my sensitive stomach? Captain, you won't have time to get seasick. Cody, I don't know anything about boilers. Captain, Mr. Crankmeyer's boys know all about boilers. They're brilliant sailors, his best students. Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Arlene, control yourself, Cody. Captain, this will be your test of fire. You'll thank me for it later. Cody, ooh, runs out stage left. Arlene, there he goes again. As Cody runs out, Jan, Brendan, and Penny enter stage right. They see Arlene and immediately turn around, start to exit. One moment, you three! Caught the girls free, slowly turned to face accusing Arlene. Jan, hello, Brenda, Miss Penny Zane. Arlene, don't you hello Miss Zane me. I'm in no mood for games. Captain, mustn't be impolite to our passengers, Miss Zane. Arlene, they're not passengers. They claim to be our main attraction, the Divine Sisters. Captain, my pleasure to welcome you aboard, ladies. I'm Captain Buttersworth. Arlene, you may be Captain Buttersworth, but they are not the Divine Sisters. Captain, what makes you think they're not? Arlene, because I've seen the Divine Sisters. This trio doesn't even come close. Brenda, I knew we wouldn't get away with it. Jan, resigned. All right, so we're not the Divine Sisters. Captain, then who are you? Jan, we go to school together. We take the same classes. Penny, we have talent. We've been trying to get a break for a long time. Brenda, to Captain, Jan works after school in a talent agency and was being called to ask if the Divine Sisters were available for this cruise. Jan, I figured this would be our big opportunity to prove ourselves. Maybe even get discovered. Arlene, what you're going to get is off this ship. Captain, what about entertainment? Our passengers expect it. Arlene, I'd forgotten about that. Captain, in charge of the situation. Tell you what, we'll let you girls remain aboard. Arlene, what are you saying? Jan, thank you, Captain. Brenda, you're a great guy. Captain, you can entertain and hope for your big break, but you'll have to help out around the ship. We're a bit short of staff. Penny, oh sure, anything. Arlene, uncomfortable. I don't like this one bit. However, beggars can't be choosers. Jan, oh, you'll be glad we're on board, Miss Zane. Brenda, honest. Arlene, the Divine Sisters have quarters on A deck. It's a stateroom. Jan, fantastic. Arlene, I'll find you something more suitable later on. Put your luggage in there for now. Girls move off stage right. Brenda, boy, are we lucky. Penny, a stateroom. Jan, our big chance. Arlene, I don't understand you, Tom. You take everything so calmly. Bad checks, a crew that deserts, fake entertainers. Victor Bay enters stage left, a top coat over his shoulders. Like Honey before him, Victor is theatrical, wears dark glasses, carries a walking stick. Victor, what kind of ship is this? I was almost run down by a jogger. I want to go to my stateroom. Arlene steps up to him. I'm Miss Zane, Arlene Zane, your cruise director. This is Captain Buttersworth. Captain, how do you do, sir? Victor, I don't do so good. My health is bad. I need rest. A terrible woman is hounding me night and day. She wants to be in my next picture. Captain, you're in films? Victor, no, I'm not in films. She's in films. Honey Hotchkiss. I want to forget all about her. I don't even want to hear her name. Arlene, you must be Victor Bay. Victor, correct. Arlene, Mr. Bay is a famous Hollywood producer. He's producing Gone with the Wind Part 2. Miss Marshall enters stage right. A businesslike young woman. She carries an attaché case, steps to down right table and sets her case on the top. She pays no attention to the others, snaps open the case, takes out some papers, studies them. Victor, if I give the owners a good report about this cruise, you might get a big increase in salary, Captain Buttersworth. Captain, that sounds incredible, Mr. Bay. Arlene, at this point, any salary sounds wonderful. Victor, only never let me hear the name Honey Hotchkiss. Captain, I promise you that, sir. Victor, if Victor Bay recommends a cruise ship, it means thousands and thousands of dollars in business. Where I go, the jet set follows. Captain, splendid. Miss Marshall, without turning, could I have a word with you, Captain Buttersworth? It's urgent. Extremely urgent. Only now do Captain and Arlene notice her. Captain, who's she? Arlene, I don't know. Perhaps another passenger. Captain, dubious. Somehow I don't think so. Victor, I want peace and quiet. Don't forget. I want to forget that somewhere in this world is an actress by the name of Honey Hotchkiss. Nurse enters stage right, wearing hospital whites and holding up a hypo up in one hand. In the other, she holds an orange. Nurse, anyone in need of a injection for seasickness? To Miss Marshall. How about you, miss? Miss Marshall, no, thank you. I'm not sailing. Nurse, to Victor. How about you, sir? Victor, needles can hurt. I don't like pain. I've got enough pain in my life with Honey Hotchkiss. To Arlene, what's the number of my captain? Arlene checks the clipboard. You're number 3, B deck. Nods stage right. You may want to join some of our other passengers on the bow. No, I'm going straight to my cabin. Crossing stage right. 5 glorious days of tranquility. No Honey Hotchkiss. That's what I call heaven. He exits. Nurse, how about you, miss? Seasick injection? Arlene, are you giving it or curing it? Nurse, I suppose I am pushy. I need the practice. And she jabs the hypo into the orange. Gotcha! Captain, you might see the Deputy Captain Cody. Nurse, where is he? On deck. How will I recognize him? He's the one hanging over the railing. Nurse, oh goody, a patient. She exits stage left. Arlene, pointing after her. Who is that woman? Captain, she was the best I could get. Miss Marshall shuts the attaché case steps to the others. Where's the doctor? Pause. Don't tell me. Let me guess. He quit. Captain. Early this morning. Arlene. Bum check. Captain. His check had more bounce than silly putty. Miss Marshall, checking some clauses in her papers, speaks clearly and efficiently. Miss Marshall. I am Miss Marshall, Captain Buttersworth. I am with the insurance company. We can allow you to sail. Arlene. Wait! Or what? Miss Marshall. With coverage, that is. For one thing, our premiums have not been paid. We understand that all the company's funds have been tied up out of the country. Also, that most of your crew has resigned and that this is your first command. Captain. As a matter of fact, it is. What I lack in experience, I make up in enthusiasm. Miss Marshall. It takes more than enthusiasm to run a cruise ship. Have you been in touch with the owners? Captain. I have not been able to reach them. Miss Marshall. I suspect that they're going to file for bankruptcy. Arlene. We have passengers on board. Miss Marshall. Tell them the cruise is canceled. Captain. We can't do that. They've unpacked. Miss Marshall. My guess is that the owners never intended the ship to sail. Probably waiting to see how many passengers signed up. How many passengers are you carrying? Arlene. Maybe a dozen? How many can you carry? 400. There you have it. They've lost a bundle. Jogger enters stage right, jogs across stage, and out. Captain. The insurance is none of my affair. Miss Marshall. If I were you, I'd tell the passengers to start packing. Exits stage right. Arlene. Stunned. Tom, I can't believe what I heard. Captain. Forget about Miss Marshall. Arlene, this is my big chance. What are you talking about? Big chance? You sound like those divine imposters. I'm the youngest man to ever command a cruise ship. The youngest on record. Do you know what that means? If I do a good job, I can write my own ticket. Victor Bay will even give me a recommendation. I'll have offers pouring in from the finest cruise ships. Nurse enters stage left, stops, and again jabs the orange. Gotcha! She exits. Captain and Arlene haven't noticed her. Their dialogue continues through her stage cross and business. Arlene. Victor Bay won't recommend you for anything. She's on board. Honey Hotchkiss. Captain. She is? I'll let you handle that. Arlene. You expect me to help you in this crazy scheme? He grabs her, bends her back, and kisses her fast. Arlene is pleased, momentarily dazed. Oh, Tom, you're so convincing. Back to reality, she straightens up. But this ship has no insurance. We don't have a real engineer. Cody is seasick all the time. Victor Bay is bound to find out about Honey. Those divine imposters won't fool anyone. The boys from the Maritime High School aren't experienced sailors. Captain. Don't forget about the storm warning. Arlene. What storm warning? Captain. I just got the weather report. It's gonna be a big one. Arlene. Ambition is fine, but you're going overboard. Captain. In that case, there's only one thing to do. Arlene. Relieved. Cancel the tour. Captain. No! Sail away! Smiling happily, he exits stage left to start sailing. Boris enters stage right. Wearing a white steward's jacket, he carries a gong and a hammer and a set of cymbals, strikes the gong. Boris. All ashore that's going ashore. Bong. All ashore that's going ashore. Arlene slaps her hand to her forehead and gives a long moan of despair. Oh. Boris continues across the stage. He pays no attention to Arlene. All ashore that's going ashore. Very fast curtain. That was Act 1 of Don't Rock the Boat. If you slightly enjoyed this nonsense, leave a comment. Let me know if I should go ahead and give you Acts 2 and 3. That being the case, thank you for